Polls show this fight is now backfiring on President Biden. The House is debating right now. They're getting ready to vote on the Republican debt ceiling package of spending cuts. Let's get right to it with former Utah Congressman Jason Chaffetz, economic pro Carol Roth. It's great to see you both. Thanks for joining us. First to you, Congressman. Democrats, Manchin, Klobuchar, saying, Biden, you got to negotiate. Voters are not going to believe Biden on this. It's not MAGA to claw back wasteful, unused pandemic spending or do things like bring back spending to just 2022 levels, Jason.
Yeah, and when you hear Speaker McCarthy say, you know, it's been months since the president would even engage on this issue. Joe Biden, the entire premise of his presidency was the idea he knew how to bring people together. Why not sit down and have the discussion? That's why even Democrats are critical of Biden, because for him to not sit down and talk about this issue, one of the most vital facing us, is really a bad look. Yes,
so what Jason just said, it's a bad look around the globe, Carol, because this spending is slamming the status of the dollar around the world, and we've got more nations moving away from using it. And the polls show voters are really upset this inflationary spending has dropped their standard of living.
As they should be. I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. I know you're going to be shocked about this, but the debt ceiling isn't working. I know this is a shock, but obviously it has not kept us from spending more. We have $31 and almost $500 billion of debt. They have modified the debt ceiling almost 100 times. So they needed to do something else. And this is an actual attempt to try to get spending under control, which we need both here in the United States for that cost of living. And as you said, Liz, for what's happening on the international stage, that if we don't get that under control will mean an even worse standard of living back here in the United States.
Yeah, that's right. China is moving pretty rapidly around the world to get the yuan. But, you know, the U.S. has a transparent market, a liquid one. That's what supports the dollar. Jason, Republicans now targeting more than 36 vulnerable House Democrats. They could lose their seats next election. They're saying Biden strike a deal. President Biden held a rare press conference today. He called on scripted list of reporters. The New York Times says out of the last 100 years, he's at the bottom, ranks near the bottom with the lowest number of press conferences, Jason.
Yeah, communication, the spoken word should be a core competency for a president, but it's really not. He doesn't like speaking. He now almost never answers questions. The number of press conferences, his availability to the American people and the American press is an embarrassment. And usually when he goes to the microphone, it's, you know, an amazing moment because he's spitting out a word salad or something that makes no sense whatsoever. And Kamala Harris, by the way, she ain't much better at this.
Yeah, so the White House is doing that. They're also railroading America. They're railroading through things like making energy costs more expensive. You know, they're making mortgages more expensive for good credit borrowers to subsidize those with bad credit.
Yeah.
They're weakening the border, all without Congress, Carol.
Yeah, and the scary thing is, Liz, that not only is it without Congress, but we don't actually know who's in charge. Because to Jason's point, you know, listening to the president, it's pretty clear that he's not the one that's making these decisions. We know listening to Kamala Harris that she's not the one who's likely making these decisions. He's had so much turnover. If you think about Klain and Deese and now Rice, who are the people who are making these decisions that he's the front person for? Because we don't even know who to negotiate with to get back our country.
You know, let's watch what happened today. First, you're going to see the president look down at a pre-approved list of reporters on who to call on. You're going to see whoppers about the supply chain, his age, and more. Watch this.
Now we're going to take some questions. All of a sudden, everybody started to learn the phrase supply chain. A year ago, no one knew what the hell everybody was talking about. With regard to age, I can't even say, I guess how old I am, I can't even say the number. It doesn't register with me. It's generating significant economic growth in America and not hurting anybody. And by the way, it's creating jobs in South Korea. It's creating jobs in South Korea. And, you know, the idea that I have absolute authority as commander-in-chief and the sole authority to use a nuclear weapon.
So he's talking about nuclear weapons, Carol. If this goes on like this, Trump is going to tear into him. The RNC is already out with a video warning about the possible consequences of a second Biden term. China's going to invade Taiwan, more bank failures, bad border collapses, and crime, Carol.
Yeah, he's a threat to our economic security. He's a threat to our national security. You know, it's no surprise that the things that didn't happen under Trump are now happening under Biden. This is the biggest gift that we could give the international community and folks like Russia and China, who would be so happy to supplant the U.S. and, you know, in terms of our economic and our military superpower. When you have this guy as the guy in charge, it makes us look weak. And the reality is we are weak.
You know, so what Carol just said, Jason, I mean, Biden, now he has got a terrible track record to defend. He didn't have that when he came in 2020. He has a track record. His approval rating, Jason, is trending below 40%, where incumbents lose. I mean, new CBS poll, less than a quarter, 22% of Democrats, only 22% of Democrats are excited about Biden running again. More than twice that say he should not run.
Yeah, one of the big things that he said at the press conference, which is absolutely not even close to the truth, is he said that his approval numbers are very similar to past presidents. Nobody has been as low as Joe. I mean, that's just never happened. For him to go to the microphone, for instance, and say nobody was talking about the supply chain, nobody even knew what it was. What an affront. Every single business I've ever interacted with knows exactly what a supply chain is and how pivotal and important it is. And for Joe Biden to think that he can go through this process with no debates also speaks to the idea he can't defend his record and he can't even articulate what he has done.
Yeah, so what Jason just said, final word, Carol, because Biden's now deploying a dozen Democrat governors to do his campaigning for him. You know, his launch video claimed democracy was under attack. Virtually said nothing about how Americans feel their wallets and kitchen tables are under attack from his record inflation fueled by his government overspending.
Yeah, I think Jason just gave the president a new nickname, Low Joe, that reflects his poll numbers. But the reality is they have not been investing in America. They have been fleecing the middle class. And 81 million people voted for this, Liz. I hope that they're looking and paying attention when they go to the grocery store, looking at the register, looking in their bank accounts and saying, we cannot afford 4 more years of this.
You know, I'm telling you, if Trump comes out and sets this race on his term, if he wins the nomination, if Trump hammers it and sets the narrative and he sets the terms of the debate, he's going to win. Jason, that's what's going to happen. You know, Americans see that this president has been gaslighting them, railroading them, and misleading them for 2 years. Jason Chaffetz, Carol Roth, thank you so much for joining us.